I know, number 5, prophecy is history written in advance. Look at chapter 46 and verse 10 of Isaiah. Verse 9 says, I am God and there is none like me. Verse 10, declaring the end from the beginning. What is prophecy? God writing history in advance. What does that mean? Verse 10, declaring how the world is going to end. Look at this. This is how the world's going to end. Daniel's written it down. Jesus in Matthew 24 explained it. Verse 10, and from ancient times things that are not yet done, saying, my counsel shall stand, I will do all my pleasure. Why is all this happening? Jeremiah 1:12. God is watching over his word and he's going to perform it. God is causing these events, Assyria in their pride to fall to Babylon, in their pride to fall to Medo-Persia, in their pride to fall to Alexander the Great in Greece, in their pride to fall to the Romans. And the Romans are the final empire in God's prophetic plan and God's written history in advance. Okay, number 6, and there are only 7 truths about prophecy, so we're doing really well. Prophecy is to confirm that God can be trusted. Look at Isaiah 48, 3-5. I have declared the former things from the beginning. They went forth from my mouth, and I caused them to hear it. Suddenly, I did them. See, that's the Jeremiah 1 verse. Suddenly, I did them, and they came to pass. Because I knew you were obstinate, your neck was like iron, your brow like bronze. Even from the beginning, I declared it to you before it came to pass. God says, prophecy can be trusted. Now, for just a second, it's time to wake up. I want to share something really exciting. I'm so glad someone did this to me. I remember when I was in seminary, they said, as a pastor, you know what you're going to have to do? You're going to have to go on a hospital visitation. And I remember being with this man who was a wizard at hospital visitation. What do you say when you're going into someone laying in bed that's not your age and you know they're never going to get better? They're old and sick. Did you know that was my job? When I was at Grace Community Church with John MacArthur, do you know what my job was? They started me out with 800 old people. My Sunday school class had 800 in it. My Sunday school class. Every one of them, Bonnie and I, we were the leaders of the old timers class at Grace Community Church. There were 800 of them. The youngest was like 65. And then they went up from there. Every week I had people dying. I did a funeral every week. I love funerals. I did a funeral every week. And I was always in the hospital. They were either hooked up to a respirator or a ventilator or dialysis, or they were on chemo, or they were, you know what I mean? They had all these bags hanging by their bed and tubes going to them, and they were punctuated all over with tubes and needles and everything. And I was supposed to go in and talk to them. What do you say to someone that's never going to get out of that hospital bed? What do you say to someone that the doctor is outside the door and going to tell them that, you know, the tumor has grown so big that you're probably going to not be able to breathe and it's going to be labored, and do you want us to give you a lot of, what is that drug they give them? Morphine, so you don't feel it, or do you want to be conscious and see your family? I mean, isn't that awful? I have a friend in Japan, Sophie, anybody else from Japan? He planted his church in Osaka. Do you know how they have 300 or 400 in Japan? Do you know how he planted his church? The Japanese don't normally visit people in the hospital. That's not a social custom. You don't walk down and visit people and cheer them up and bring them candy in the hospital. You leave them alone, they get well, and they get out. His church, they started with a handful, and now the whole church, they go to every hospital in the city, and they visit everybody, and they go in their room. What do you say to someone that's there? It's in Isaiah 46. Let me read it to you. Verse 3 of Isaiah 46. Listen to me, O house of Jacob, all the remnant of the house of Israel, you who have been, look at this, upheld by me from birth. You who have been carried from the womb, even to your old age, I am he. Remember, that's what Jesus said in John 8. Even to your gray hair, I will carry you. I have made you. I will bear you. I will carry you. I will deliver you. Do you know what you say to someone in the hospital? Hey, you know what? The original attending physician that was there at your birth probably isn't even alive anymore. But guess what? There's someone that was there at your birth. And they're the one that have carried you all the way through life. When you were a helpless infant, all through your growing up days, all through your exciting, strong days. And now that same person, Isaiah 46, who was there at your birth, verse 3, upholding you from your birth, carrying you from the womb where he knit you together and formed you, even verse 4, to your old age, I am he, even to when you're here. And so that's what I started doing. That was my verse that I read to these old people in the hospital. And I said, you know what? Jesus Christ, who was there at your birth, who has carried you since you were, who knit you together inside your mother, who has carried you all through your life, is still carrying you. He's still right here with you. And he's going to carry you safely home. What does Psalm 23, verse 6 say? Well, verse 5, yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. When I have all those tubes and, they have the breathing one in, they have one going up your nose. Have you ever been in the hospital? It's really not very nice. And you feel so weak. They take your glasses away from you. They take your watch away from you. They take your hearing aid if you have one. They even take your clothes, and you have to wear those little funny things that don't have a back to them, those gowns. They don't close in the back. It's so funny. You wear this awful outfit. You feel so helpless. And you know what the Lord says? Even to your old age, I am he. Even to your gray hair, I will carry you. I have made you. I will bear you. I will carry you. And I will deliver you. And then he goes on to say, do you think your idol will do that? He said, the one you made out of a log, you carved it, you cut the log in half, you carved half of it into an idol, you set it up, and the other half you cut up into firewood and made your dinner. Do you think that log is going to come in the hospital with you? See, he's making fun of idolatry, and he's saying, I want you to know I'm the God who can be trusted with your life. Okay?